semester spring 2024. This is Psych 321, Cinema Therapy, Social Media, and Alternative Platforms. Let's go over the course syllabus. There is no textbook in this class, but there are a lot of books that I'm going to be looking at and presenting to you in the PowerPoints. So this is me, Dr. Bruce M. Bradway. This is where I live, Lost Nation, Iowa. You can look it up on Google Maps if you want. This is my telephone number. That's my cell phone. I am 74 years old. I'm not a teenager, so I don't keep my phone with me. As a matter of fact, it's in the dining room right now, recharging. I do have office hours 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. Monday and Tuesday, I will be on Zoom between 3 and 5, and Wednesday and Thursday 8 to 10. In the morning, this is the Zoom number. It's always the same. I'm always at the same Zoom address, so you can get me. You can contact me at these times. If you can't do that, just email me, and I'll be glad to communicate with you by Zoom at any time, day or night. This is my email address, Dene College. This is my 8th year at Dene College. I started in 2016, the fall of 2016. This is a new class, a relatively new class. I put it together last year. It's been evolving over that time. I taught it last semester. It was fairly successful. These are the books we're going to be using. Oops, that's a mistake. Wait a second. These are the books we're going to be looking at. I'm going to be looking at. They're kind of expensive. I wouldn't expect you to buy them. There is no comprehensive textbook for this topic area. It's cinema therapy, social media, and gaming. A little disappointed with the gaming. It was really difficult to find books that talk about gaming addiction, but I've been able to do it. This is the class schedule and what books we're going to be looking at. The PowerPoint should be fairly comprehensive, so you won't need a textbook, I hope. There will be 15 lecture tests, 20 points apiece for about 300 points. There is a paper dealing with either cinema therapy, social media, or gaming, and I welcome you to refute anything that I say in this class. Let's have an open discussion about this. If you are a gamer and you can see no problems with it, then okay, that's fine. Let's talk about it. There will be 15 discussions, 150 points. I do not grade you by what you say. I grade you by the fact that you said it. So you can say anything you want. You can call me any names you like. I've probably heard them all. Been around for a while. I was in the military for 12 years, so I was a maggot when I first started. Anyway, okay, so the other thing that we are looking at, cinema therapy, has to do with using film to help you, and we're going to talk about that next week. We're going to start talking about cinema therapy next week. So this is anyway. So when you do a look at a film, then and do a synopsis of it, then this is what I'm looking for. Quizzes, fairly straightforward. They're right out of the PowerPoints. And then the paper, of course, I do count lines, so I'm looking for 115 lines, I think. It's 23 times 5. That's 115. Okay. And you can do a research article dealing with these things. I am not a fan of AI. I'm not a fan of ChatGPT. I consider it cheating that you would use this mainly because you're not doing any critical thinking. They're doing the critical thinking, and they're also putting the ideas together, and you're not. So if you use ChatGPT, don't expect a very high grade, especially on your paper. You can't pass your paper with using ChatGPT. Okay, so there it goes. This is kind of an interesting video. And it's about 10 minutes long. So it talks about they signed up as a 14-year-old girl, and they started watching TikTok, and it only took like 14 different videos before it got into anorexia and whatnot, and the fact that, well, and some fairly negative information. So it's kind of an interesting video, this one right here. What else? That's about it. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the first lecture. Yes, I changed something. I misspelled something. All right, and this is cool. I just developed. Oops. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Okay, watch this. That's the first lecture. Wait a minute, it's going to come in just a second. No, come on. Nope. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Associate Professor of Psychology. The DSM-5 identified no media-related addictions, dangers, or problems. DSM-5 came out in 2013. They come out about every 25 years. We are not on the DSM-5 right now. We're on the DSM-5-TR, text revision. And I have a copy of it someplace. It's turquoise, as interesting as that is. The ICD-11 also includes no media addictions, dangers, or problems. The recent mass shootings by media-infused teenagers might indicate that media is at least fuel, if not a causal factor, to the shooter's actions. And we're going to look at that right now. That's Peyton Gendron with his tactical helmet on. New York State's top prosecutor has launched an investigation into the role social media companies played in the Buffalo mass shooting by Peyton Gendron on the 14th of May in 2022. The inquiry will look at the extent that social platforms were used to stream, promote, or plan the event, the fact that an individual can post detailed plans to commit such an act of hate without consequence and then stream it for the world to see is bone-chilling and unfathomable. That's what the Attorney General of New York said. The stream was taken down less than 2 minutes after the violence began, but was duplicated on other streaming sites despite the removal. Facebook did not remove a link to the copied video for more than 10 hours, by which time it had been shared by more than 46,000 times on the platform. A copy uploaded elsewhere was viewed more than 3 million times before being taken down. And if you remember, Gendron drove 200 miles north. He lived in southern New York. He drove up to Buffalo, which is up on Lake Erie, and went into a black grocery store and started shooting people. The investigation will target online forums such as 4chan, 8chan, and Discord, where the gunman reportedly posted about his plans. You know, if we're thinking, of course, I'm old and I don't really care about these things, but we can talk about Facebook, we can talk about TikTok, we can talk about Snapchat, but 4chan, 8chan, and Discord are all websites that were created for people with extreme ideas. And I think we're going to talk about that eventually. And that's what, yeah, he's acting goofy there, but wasn't very goofy. I think he killed 8 people or something. Friends of the 18-year-old recent high school graduate said that Gendron just played video games. He was a big gamer. He had a ton of online friends, which is great that he had so many friends. Another situation under variations on the name Awake, the same word tattooed above his left eye, as we can see here. It says Awake. There it is right there, Awake. Robert Crimo, the Highland Park shooter, posted regularly to YouTube. Crimo and his music were on Spotify, and he hosted a Discord server where followers shared memes and links to his songs. Crimo's online footprint tried to make him seem very intense and very violent to accumulate a certain amount of perverted clout among other people in the same online spaces. There are portions of the internet that pride themselves on this fetishization of violence, of being as offensive as humanly possible, and that was what he was trying to do. Among the most disturbing is what appears to be Crimo's activity on a forum called Documenting Reality, where people share graphic photos and videos that show the aftermath of violence. There, as a user named Awake47, Crimo shared photos and posted footage of shootings and other real-life violence. He posted there often, and as you can see, he has a lovely tattoo on his neck. He has tattoos on his face. This is supposed to mean that he's killed 5 people, but at this point he hadn't. There's a wake across his eye. Robert Crimo played Call of Duty frequently and would often post pictures of his avatar sniping from rooftops, the very action that Crimo used to kill 7 and wound more than 30. The Uvalde elementary school shooter, Salvador Ramos, told girls he would rape them, showed off a rifle he bought, and threatened to shoot up schools and live streams on the social media app Yubo. Use of Yubo skyrocketed during the coronavirus pandemic as teens trapped indoors turned to the app for a semblance of in-person interaction. The company says that it has 60 million users around the world, 99% of whom are 25 and younger, and has trumpeted safety features including second-by-second monitoring of live streams using artificial intelligence and human moderators. And this is a picture of Ramos. Salvador Ramos routinely played Call of Duty, an online shooter game, and played and lost Dead by Daylight just hours before the massacre at Uvalde Elementary. Dead by Daylight is a multiplayer horror survival game where one player takes the role of the killer and the other 4 are survivors. Ramos was the killer and he lost the game. Wasn't able to find everybody. And then he went into an elementary school and shot up a 5th grade class, I think. 9 in 10 U.S. teens go online multiple times a day, and internet usage is 2 times higher in Asia and Africa. And that's why I have this picture of a gaming area in China. Studies indicate that between 1.6% and 11.3% of adolescents in China, Taiwan, and South Korea are considered addicted, and China has recently declared internet addiction a clinical disorder. One study from the United States of 7th and 8th graders found that the students averaged 11.5 hours a day using screens. 11.5. So if they sleep for 8, that's 19.5. That's only 4.5 hours. It's only 4.5 hours without looking at a screen while they were awake. Another study found that 50% of teens say they feel addicted to mobile devices. And as you can see, it was really kind of interesting. I was in the gym, when was it? Last Friday, not last Friday, that was yesterday. the week before on Friday, and there were 4 other guys in there, and they were all males. And we were lifting weights, and here I'm lifting and looking in the mirror. They were all behind me, and all 4 of them were on their mobile phones. It was just so weird. Here I'm just pumping away, and they're looking on their mobile phones. I have no idea what they were looking at, but they were all on their phones at the same time. Just bizarre. In one study of, do you go to the gym to read your phone, or do you go to the gym to lift weights? And I know I was there, but I don't take my cell phone into the weight room, but I guess they did. In one study of 1,100 young people, 12 to 17, 97% played video games, 99% of the boys, and 94% of the girls. The teens' handles were the first piece of information exchanged between 38% of the boys. As weird as that sounds. A recent phenomenon among gamers is the advent of the headset. 71% of gamers use headsets to converse and work together to solve challenges. Research has shown that gamers are not just talking about what is in the game, but other things about life as well. Many kids worldwide spend too much time playing online games. Outside of the United States, several countries have identified gaming addiction as a major public health issue. The South Korean government introduced a law banning access to games between midnight and 6 o'clock a.m. for kids under the age of 16. In Japan, gamers receive an alert if they spend too much time playing. China's Tencent, the leading provider of internet value-added services, limits the hours a day that children can play its most popular games. Teen anxiety and depression are on the rise. Public Health and Health Policy report that from 2005 to 2015, depression rose significantly among Americans aged 12 and older, with the most rapid increases observed in young people. Adolescent self-esteem, life satisfaction, and happiness have plunged since 2012, the same year smartphone ownership reached the 50% mark in the United States. According to Jean Twenge, and that's Jean Twenge right there, the results could not be clearer. Teens who spend more time on screen activities are more likely to be unhappy, and those who spend more time on non-screen activities are more likely to be happy. There's not a single exception. All screen activities are linked to less happiness, and all non-screen activities are linked to more happiness. Przybylski and Weinstein, their research revealed that screen time may benefit teens' well-being by providing opportunities to develop social connections and skills. Well-being increases as teen screen time increases up to a certain point. After that point, increased screen time is associated with decreased well-being, and these are the anyway, the figures from that research. On weekdays, teens' well-being peaked at the following levels: 1 hour and 40 minutes of video game play, 1 hour and 57 minutes of smartphone use, 3 hours and 41 minutes of watching videos, 4 hours and 17 minutes of using computers. On weekends, teens could engage in digital activities between 22 minutes and 2 hours, 13 minutes longer, before demonstrating negative effects. So this all had to do with trying to find time to look at videos or whatever, or play video games. Studies indicate that on average, males need 59 likes on an Instagram post to feel happy, whereas females only need 45. A 2017 survey of 1,500 teens found Instagram, along with Snapchat, Facebook and Twitter to be associated with high levels of depression, bullying, and FOMO, the fear of missing out. Fear of missing out. Social media notifications reward the brain with small hits of dopamine, a chemical that leads to increased pleasure. When the individual goes online to see the notification, what the notification is, they are rewarded with a second hit of dopamine. More, how wonderful. The anticipation of what that notification might deliver elevates dopamine even more than the actual reward of receiving a text, a like, or a breaking news update. This dopamine reward activation is at the same level as the pleasure from eating, sex, drugs, alcohol, and gambling. The pleasure derived from playing World of Warcraft is the same pattern of neurons firing across the brain as the pattern for known addictions. PET scans and functional MRIs reveal an increase in the glucose uptake in the areas of the brain that are pleasure-oriented, and the neurotransmitter associated with that process, of course, is dopamine. Technology is so hyper-arousing that it raises dopamine levels. It is tough enough resisting technology when one has a fully functional and adult frontal cortex, but adolescents don't have this biological advantage. Beginning in early adolescence and peaking midway through, teens experience an increase in the activity of the neural circuits that use dopamine. This is why teens gravitate towards substances and experiences that yield rewards such as social media likes and text message pings. In addition to experiencing pleasure from internet activities, teens are more easily addicted to pleasure than adults. The teen brain is geared to learn, and pleasure becomes an immediate teacher. Smoking is a good example. Teens who smoke show higher rates of tobacco addiction than adults who smoke the same amount. Compulsive or addictive behavior can hijack the brain's ability to access the judgment center in the frontal cortex. That's the part of the brain that should be asking, how important is this text? Or do I need to check Snapchat every 5 minutes? Kids lack the judgment to know when to put down or ignore their phones, even infants. Come on, you can do it. There you go. On Instagram, personal photos and selfies rule. It was adjudged the worst social media network for mental health and well-being. Instagram easily makes women and girls feel like their bodies aren't good enough as people add filters and edits to make themselves look perfect. Researchers found some benefits from social media use. Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook received positive scores for self-identity, self-expression, community building, and emotional support. YouTube got high marks for providing access to trustworthy information. Yay! Facebook has been lauded for providing groups or pages where youth can surround themselves with like-minded friends. This has been especially beneficial to the well-being of LGBTQ+ youth and those who belong to ethnic minorities, two populations that find it challenging to find like-minded peers in their offline communities. Younger children use media in playful, creative ways, often to play games, but this lighthearted attitude changes abruptly by middle school, and these are middle school students. Middle school and teenage years are a time for experimenting and discovering one's adult potential. Unfortunately, technology can accelerate and amplify any mistakes in judgment that might occur. Sexting is the sending, receiving, or forwarding of any sexually explicit message, photograph, or image between digital devices, most commonly cell phones. Sending sexts to people under the age of 18, even between two teenagers in a relationship, is illegal in most states. An adult sexting a minor who is between 15 and 17 or sexual exploitation of a minor is a Class II felony in Arizona. Also, for sexting-related crimes, teens over the age of 18 will most likely be charged as an adult for sexual exploitation or online solicitation of a minor as well. In Arizona, sexual exploitation of a minor or child pornography charges can come with some serious significant potential consequences if convicted. In Arizona, a minor cannot send or possess explicit sexual material of another minor. Even if the individual received the explicit material directly from the other minor, if the individual does not report the material or reasonably try to delete or destroy the material, they are behaving unlawfully. Individuals under the age of 18 who engaged in sexting will go into the juvenile justice system in Arizona. Sexting can be prosecuted under New Mexico child pornography laws. A teen boy may ask his teen girlfriend to send him a naked photo of herself, then share the photo with his friends, and all of them may be prosecuted under the New Mexico child pornography laws. New Mexico makes it a crime to distribute or show a sexually explicit image to a child. New Mexico prohibits sexual communications with a child under the age of 16. Two 15-year-olds sending nude photos of each other via text could be charged in violation of New Mexico's sexting laws. An adult sending or receiving an image of a child under the age of 16 would be considered in violation of child pornography under New Mexico law. A comprehensive study by the Journal of the American Medical Association in 2018 revealed that 1 in 4 teenagers reports having received a sext, and 1 in 7 reports having sent one. The number of kids involved in sexting has risen significantly in recent years due to the number of kids who have their own phones. It's not just boys asking girls for nudes. Researchers found no significant difference between the sexes pertaining to either sending or receiving sexting messages. According to Michelle Drowan from Purdue University, Fort Wayne, it's not a bad kid thing, rather a perfect storm of budding sexuality combined with a child's first freedom on their own technological device. The frontal cortex is still immature, so kids often send sext messages without thinking. Drown explains, I would say sexting is a part of the normative teenage experience now, so it is very common to send some type of sexually explicit message. By the time they have hit young adulthood, more than half have sent sexually explicit pictures. 7 students in Iowa, ranging from 15 to 17 years old, faced criminal charges for sharing phone messages that contained nude photos. 3 faced felony charges, while another 4 faced serious misdemeanor charges. A 17-year-old star football player from Michigan exchanged nude photos with his 16-year-old girlfriend. He was charged with 2 counts of second-degree sexual exploitation and 3 counts of third-degree exploitation. He faces 10 years in prison and a lifetime registering as a sex offender. 20 high school students from New York City were suspended for up to 5 days for simply receiving or forwarding a sex video that was sent to them via a group text. Suspended students included those who received the video and didn't even know what it was. A 14-year-old boy from Rhode Island was charged with distributing child pornography after he shared inappropriate pictures of a 13-year-old female classmate with friends. The girl was also charged with disseminating indecent material. If convicted, the boy will be a felon and a registered sex offender. In the 1950s, when television first started to become a cultural phenomenon, there were dire warnings from social scientists that the medium would be the doom of humanity. Referred to unaffectionately as the idiot box and the boob tube, boob in this case means idiot and rhymes with tube, hence boob tube, TV never quite led to the demise of civilization, or maybe it has. Likewise, computers, the internet, video games, sexting, and pornography are just some of the factors that can lead to problems. Violent video games and rabid extremist platforms on the internet may feed a person's hatred, but the hatred is the product of the family and community dynamics, not the technology. So, and that's one of the reasons why it's so difficult to deal with, because it's not technology's problem, it's society's problem. And these are three that we have already talked about. This is what the 8chan symbol looks like. This is what the 4chan symbol looks like. And this is what the Discord channel symbol looks like. 4chan, 8chan, and Discord. This semester we will be looking at the possible benefits of cinema therapy, the benefits and potential problems with social media, and the benefits and possible problems in the video gaming world, which includes PC dominant, mobile dominant, console dominant, and multi-platform players. Despite some pretty serious zonkers in the history of TV, the 80s show, Big Brother, South Beach, Jersey Shore, The Jerry Springer Show, TV has not destroyed civilization and has in fact produced some highly touted shows, The Big Bang Theory, The 70s Show, Friends, Cheers, and Seinfeld. Thus, we need to be careful predicting that video games or social media will be more than a factor in our social history. We will begin the semester looking at cinema therapy from Hesley and Hesley. With the amount of time preteens, teens, and young adults spend watching videos, cinema therapy could very well be a way to communicate with a technologically savvy population. I anticipate spending 3 weeks looking at cinema therapy. We will next deal with social media. Last year I used the Arntfield and Swart text, social media and mental health, depression, predators, and personal disorders, but because of an attempt at unethical behavior by the textbook publisher, I had to drop the book. So this is what we used last year in 2020, fall of 2022. Is that right? Yeah. Instead, I will be accumulating the needed material through various books on the topic. The first book will be Irresistible, The Rise of Addictive Technology, and the Business of Keeping Us Hooked by Adam Alter. Another book will be The Hidden Psychology of Social Networks, How Brands Create Authentic Engagement by Understanding What Motivates Us by Joe Federer. We will be using the social media text influenced, The Impact of Social Media on Our Perceptions by Brian Wackler. Nicole Cadaras has written an interesting book that we will take a look at entitled Digital Madness, How Social Media is Driving Our Mental Health Crisis, and How to Restore Our Sanity. And lastly, we will be looking at man's attempt not to have to think with Erik Larson's The Myth of Artificial Intelligence, Why Computers Can't Think the Way That We Do. Video games in their many forms, computer, console, smartphone, or virtual, will be our last technological area to peruse. I am looking forward to a good comprehensive text that covers this subject, but I will present the material in PowerPoint form, so there will not be a need to purchase a text. This is a new class, and as such, we all need to be prepared to look for information that will add to our compendium of psychological knowledge. If there is any topic that we aren't covering or any statement that I have made that you don't agree with, except for my list of best and worst TV shows, then please tell me and I can see if it can't be addressed. And that should be it. There's Cy. All right. Yes, it is a new class. All right. And that is the end of the chapter. I've actually used more books that I don't have in here. Anyway, not important. I'll tell you what they are as they come along. They're in the syllabi. The syllabus, sorry. Syllabi is plural. There we go. Cy's still at it, isn't he? Okay, I'll talk to you guys next week.